On this episode of Don't Panic, we talk about iOS 7.1, the Mt. Gox story gets weirder, we reminisce about old gadgets, play music trivia, talk about Roku getting a stick and Windows Phone getting Messenger, all that and more, on tonight's episode of Don't Panic. This is Don't Panic, episode number 37, recorded March 10th, 2014, on Facebook's drones, Roku's stick, and remote control mayhem. Wonderful. Hello and welcome. This is Don't Panic, the technology podcast with attitude. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by the co-hosts who are trapped in the time vortex that is daylight savings time, and that would of course be Dan Miller and Colby Rabideau.
Ahoy! What up?
Ahoy! We're exciting to be coming to you from our respective bureaus across the nation, and we have got. I usually say we're chock full of tech news, and this week is an exception because we don't actually have that much, but I promise we're going to have some good discussion, a lot of things to talk about. And with that, why don't we jump right on into the top story? Very dramatic. So this week's top story is, I'm just going to pick one because we couldn't decide on one. They're all such good stories. Why don't we talk about the big story today if you're listening live? This was the release of iOS 7.1, and this goes out across all iOS devices, and it has a whole host of new features for you, and I am going to read through them as I usually do. So let's start with visual changes include the phone dialer and power off features. iOS 7.1 switches to rounded UI elements in both areas. So, for example, I will give you a demonstration. Let me pull up the phone app. Well, I don't have the old one to show you, but you can see on the new one the buttons are, like the call button used to not be the little circle. It used to be like a longer button, so that's new. And then also when you press and hold the power button, that is also a new look as well. It used to just be the solid red bar you could kind of swipe across, but now there's kind of a dedicated button that you can actually. Most of the tweaks are minor. There's a slight refresh with the music app, including more prominent shuffle and repeat icons because they were hidden like way down the bottom. And it actually, the first time I used... I shut my phone off.
Well done.
That was not a very
It worked too well.
It did. It did, and now it won't turn back on. I don't know what I did. There we go. Bing. So while that's booting up, music app, you can improvements to the keyboard, making the shift and delete keys easier to see. Notification Center, which allows you to clear notifications more accurately, which if you're an iOS user, you know is a pain in the ass because they have these little tiny X icons you can't really hit.
Yeah.
Is there like a clear all button? Because that's what I always wanted.
I am going to look when my phone restarts. Whoops. Yes, we will. I'm curious because actually I hadn't played with that since because the update only came out this afternoon. It's also that on iPhone 5S, iPad Mini with Retina, and iPad Air, users have been experiencing random reboots since iOS 7 came out. This will hopefully fix that. They've also tweaked the recognition for the fingerprint scanner to get it faster and more accurately. It's also more optimized to run on iPhone 4 hardware, iPad 2, third-generation iPads, older devices. Of course, CarPlay is the big feature in this update. Its support, we talked about this on last week's show, about iOS in the car and using that eyes-free experience, whatever that means. That's now built in. iTunes Radio has been tweaked, where you can search within featured stations and more quickly create new stations. You can also subscribe to iTunes Match right from the device rather than your computer. Also, there's an update to how Siri is triggered. So it used to be you press and hold the home button, and it would listen and then just kind of stop when it thinks you're done, which if you've ever used it, you know it will sometimes cut you off or it'll keep listening longer than it needs to. This new feature is that if you press and hold the button and continue to hold the button while you talk, that's more of a manual control, and then when you let go of the button, Siri will stop listening. So if you had a problem with it not accurately picking up and stopping, you can use that.
Cool.
Let's take a look at the notifications here. So there is no clear all button, and it looks the exact same. I guess it's just more accurate. It's the same X. You hit it, it'll give you the second. Are you sure you want to clear? And then you just erase it. Yeah, there's really no.
Why can't they do the swipe away thing? Like you can when you pull up the app switcher and you just like carelessly toss your unused apps aside. That's what I want to do with my notifications.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Dan, but I don't work.
But clearly Johnny does.
Yeah, they need to really do something about that. And then let me. Well, the shuffle and repeat icons look the same, so I don't. Anyway, so that was put out. You should update all your devices. iOS 7.1. Any thoughts on that?
I feel like
upgraded.
I haven't either, but I haven't upgraded my iPad because I didn't really know that was a thing until a couple minutes ago. But I feel like the random reboots is something I've heard people complain about a lot. So I guess it's probably a quality of life upgrade for those folks.
I've heard people complain about it, but I've never seen it happen. Like,
interesting.
No more so than it had in the past. Like, I can probably count in one hand the number of times my iPhone has like kernel panicked or rebooted, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to be happening more frequently.
Fair enough.
The one thing it doesn't, I have a complaint. I'm registering a complaint.
Okay.
My iPhone complains at me now that it hasn't backed up the iPhone in like, I don't know, 17 weeks now at this point. And it asked me to put in my iTunes password so it can do that. And then I do, and then the next week it says 18 weeks since you last backed up your phone. Why doesn't it tell me what's going wrong? I bet it's because it ran out of space on my iCloud, and it's just like...
Well, you can check that in your settings. They'll tell you how much space you have left in your iCloud.
I will do that.
It's in... let's see if I remember. Yeah, there's like a storage option, and it's the same place where you look at how much space is on your phone and
right.
and other stuff. And yeah, they'll say in there.
And then if you need more, you can just pay Apple for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But I only use iCloud really for... I don't even know if I sync photos through iCloud, because you only get 5 gigabytes.
Yeah, I think it just syncs like settings.
Yeah, which is mostly what I use it for.
Yeah, that's all I thought I was using it for. It says I have 1.8 gigabytes available.
Oh.
2 gigabytes of that are backups from my phone.
Whoa.
Oh, but it is backing up my camera roll.
Yeah, that'll. I use Dropbox for that because I get a lot more storage out of those guys. But
nice.
Yeah, so
I had something else to say and then I forgot what it was.
You're the worst.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, Colby.
It wasn't that important.
If you think of it later, you can bring it up. Why don't we? Because that was such a short top story, why don't we throw in a second smaller story? This was Colby's favorite story in the rundown this week, so we absolutely have to talk about it, and that would, of course, the Facebook Messenger app is now available on Windows Phone. You guys have been clamoring for it. We get emails constantly saying, where is Facebook Messenger for Windows Phone? Well, good news. It is there. The new Messenger app, while Windows Phone has always had it built into the messaging hub, the new app supports features like group chat, everyone's favorite, stickers, and...
Stickers is everyone's favorite. Come on.
Everyone does love stickers.
Stickers are great.
Although I am getting a little annoyed with the commercialization. You know, like the sponsored stickers from, like, they did some for the Lego movie, and they've done...
Oh, they did Despicable Me.
Yeah, which you don't have to use them, but...
Remember when I think AIM pioneered that?
Stickers?
You could buy emoticon sets and like AIM themes. Remember that?
I do vaguely recall that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know. I have like 2 sticker packs that I use ever, and I like them a lot. And they're perfect.
They're fun. No, I agree. I was very skeptical when stickers first came out. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it's actually, and the integration is actually pretty good. I think it works pretty seamlessly.
Seems to be effective.
And it should be mentioned that Microsoft is pulling back Facebook integration into the phone itself, including in the upcoming Windows 8.1. Windows Phone 8.1. That's why Facebook is coming out with these more updated apps, because the built-in feature will be replaced by this separate app instead of being built in.
Yes, we do. We have like a team that works on Windows Phone stuff now.
Just like one intern who just, part-time.
No, your Firefox OS counterpart?
No. Maybe when Firefox OS has a couple more users.
I think we should have an episode where we discuss our favorite vintage technologies, like AIM.
Ooh, yeah. I like that a lot.
That was awesome. We could stop what we're doing and just do it right now, too.
Could do that.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to think pretty hard.
Okay. All right.
Remember Windows Media Player?
Yeah.
Do you know that's still a thing?
Yeah, no, but I mean like...
Oh, the Media Center.
Yeah. Or even just like Windows XP. That was great, remember?
I used it. I used XP the other day. Someone had had an old IBM laptop. It was this thick, and it was standard, not widescreen. And oh my god, XP! I'm like, man, I was getting like some post-traumatic flashbacks. I'm like, oh my god,
that's pretty awesome.
That was
I remember like burning CDs from Windows Media Player on Windows XP or Media Center or whatever it was, and I remember. Oh my god, it was so weird. That was I guess it must have been before I had iTunes.
Before iPod.
It's weird. It's weird to think about a time before iTunes, but there was a time.
I remember the old Nokia candy bar phone, and it had Snake on it, which is like the worst game ever, and on Singular, back when that was a thing. Yeah. And I remember, because we lived in a pretty rural area, and cell phones were like, oh shit, and it was like a big thing, because they're like, we don't get any service from anyone out here, and they're like, dude, we just got Singular, and I'm like, no. Like, that was a big deal, and I remember... I'm going to be home next week. I actually kept all my old cell phones. I must have about 5 or 6, and I'll have to pull them out for the show next week. See if I can find that box, because they're hilarious.
So I think my mom has a box of old cell phones like that, like all my sister and her and my dad's old cell phones. Like, we have one of those, and for a while my sister had a Sidekick from T-Mobile. Remember those? With the keyboard and the screen that like swiveled around. It was good times. Then there was also I had one of the like, not the original Razr, but the fancy Razr that they came out with. I had that phone for years. It was the greatest phone ever made.
Yeah, the Razr was the shit. I'll just say it. I mean, that was the iPhone before the iPhone. I mean, that was hot stuff.
It was. Yeah, cool.
I just had one. What was it? Oh, I think the statute of limitations on the legal ramifications have passed, but I remember Kazaa and LimeWire.
Oh, yeah.
And back before you could buy music, I'm just saying, this was before iTunes. And it wasn't easy to buy music digitally, but Yeah, man, those things were messed up, man. The stuff that would come up and just the weird files and the viruses and just that was dangerous. That was dangerous, frankly.
Remember viruses?
I remember.
Sean still remembers them.
Oh,
yeah. No, I was gonna say I remember a time when there was less spam.
Really?
like spam?
Yeah, or at least it wasn't as bad. I feel like I got a message the other day, and it was. I don't even know why it was spam, because the subject was like. Enhance your length or something was the subject. And then the message was like enhance your length ? You know, I'll help you, nothing capitalized. And then like Cassandra, no link, no reply address. I'm like, that's the worst spam I've ever seen. Like, what, am I supposed to start a conversation? Like, at least give me a link I can click on and get a virus. Like, you're not even trying.
Have you guys ever gotten like spam Google chat messages?
No.
I've gotten Google chatted by robots before. And
it used to be really bad on Skype. I remember that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's pretty
wish
fun.
I got a super funny spam message the other day. I wish I had kept it, but it was like, hi, I think you're cute. My screen name is blah 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 on Yahoo Messenger, and I'm like, is this text message from 1999? Like, Jesus Christ!
It got lost in the tubes, and
it did. It finally caught up with me. Wow.
Good times.
Very good times. Yeah. But
I do. So I'd like to reminisce a little bit more, but I do. I remember a time in like. I don't even know. God, it must have been like middle school when like my sister and I were allowed to go on the computer for 1 hour a night, and that hour was spent on AIM, I guess. At some point, I remember like playing like a lot of Flash games on the internet. I remember doing that a bunch.
Was that via dial-up?
At one point it was, yeah. And I guess at some point we got Cox, but I think that might have, like, we got cable internet, but I think that might have been, they have the funniest commercials because the name.
Poor folks.
I don't like, and I mean, I give them credit; they've stuck to it. But like, sometimes you gotta cut your losses.
That's true. We'll just wait for Comcast to buy them, and then we'll be set.
Yep.
So I made the comment at work the other day that AIM was the best social network, and the original social network, because like. It was MySpace, but more limited, but you could express yourself in that profile however you wanted. And there were away messages that were actively pushed to all of your friends that you could say things in. There was a news feed, there was profiles, there was messaging. That's what it was, just no one realized it at the time.
It's true.
Man, AOL could have really made something of that. That was really a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened to AIM.
I feel like
it plastered ads on it eventually, and then the client was terrible. Huh?
Can you still get it? I'm Googling it right now.
I think you can.
So.
I can still get it. Guys, we could bring back AIM.
We'll just do the show completely on AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, they have
keyword
chat,
messenger.
right?
They do. We can have a chat room.
God.
That's awesome. This could change everything.
Again.
No Windows Phone client, though, so...
Uh-oh. Well,
Darn it.
They gotta catch up to Messenger, then.
That's dated technology. That's funny. Hey, it could be worse. It could be BlackBerry Messenger.
See, I never had a BlackBerry. I missed that phase.
I bet more people probably today use AOL Instant Messenger than use BlackBerry Messenger.
Ooh, really?
That wouldn't surprise me. If you told me that I would absolutely believe you.
I don't know. Has BlackBerry fallen that far now?
I think BlackBerry Messenger has, because it's so limited because it's BlackBerry to BlackBerry client. So even if you have a BlackBerry, the other person you're talking to also has to have one.
Right.
I don't know if there's enough of a benefit over other chat services or SMS or any of those things.
Remember when Kaylee was really excited because Black BBM was going to be released on like other platforms, and then she thought we were all going to join BBM and we could all BBM all the time.
Doesn't make any sense. And then she got an iPad, so go figure. Trying out that iMessage.
Sold out. Speaking of iMessage, turns out sometimes people's iPhones still try and send me iMessages. Still. It's been 3 months.
Yeah, iMessage is pretty mediocre.
That's why I just don't even try to text you anymore. I don't. I Google Hangout or Facebook message you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've like ignored people and not realized I ignored them because of their messages, and then had like weird, uncomfortable conversations because I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. I thought it was resolved, but apparently not. Maybe they fixed that in iOS 7.1.
You'll never be free.
Oh.
Yeah, once you buy into Apple, man, they won't let go.
They're punishing me. This is actually a feature. They're saving me from myself. Or trying.
Well, now that we've had some fun reminiscing, why don't we take a quick detour over to... It's our trivia challenge.
So excited.
Is that the music?
From where?
Seinfeld?
No, but it is from a television show, so you can think on that and get back to me. I want to pick something fun, but hopefully obscure enough to not get us in any trouble for using it. Really, use like 5 seconds of it.
You didn't know that Google brought the YouTube takedown technology in real time to Hangouts?
They did.
You've only got a couple seconds left. No, I'm just kidding.
End of show.
They're about to crash through our doors.
Yeah, it's because I talked about all that kazaaing I did. So today's game is a numbers game, okay? So the way this is going to work is I'm going to give you 3 questions. You're each going to have a turn to, on each question, give an answer. All the answers are numbers. And whoever is, Price is Right rules, whoever is closest without going over wins. If you both go over, then it's who's ever closest. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
The category today is music technology. Okay?
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. I flipped a coin before the show, and Dan, you're going to answer, go first, and then Colby will give his answer for this. The first question, the advertisements for the original iPod said it held 5,000 songs in your pocket. What was that in gigabytes? To Dan first.
2 gigabytes.
2 gigabytes. Colby, what's your answer?
That was my answer.
You have to pick. Sorry. Is this going to be like The Price is Right? And $1.
2.1 gig. No. I'm going to say 4 gigabytes.
The correct answer is 5 gigabytes. So Colby wins. Colby undershot that one when it was first in 5 and then later released with 10 before moving into the second generation. The next question. Who here is a fan of 8-tracks? Everybody. We all know the 8-track tapes were popular for about 5 minutes in the 70s and into the 80s. But the question is, and Colby, you're going to answer first, in what year was the last commercially produced 8-track tape released?
1993.
Okay, Dan?
1994.
Okay, well, the answer is 1980. 88. So closest without going over. You both went over. Colby wins again. Bonus question: Can you guys guess what album was the last on the 8-track?
Oh,
I don't
God.
think you could.
No.
It was Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits.
Fleetwood Flack.
Yes, Fleetwood Flack. Final question, and Dan will go first on this one. A CD famously holds how many minutes of music? Now, this is famous because the Sony executive told the engineers to make it hold this amount of music so it could contain the entirety of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. So how many minutes does a standard CD hold of music?
75 minutes.
Okay,
70
Colby?
minutes.
Well, wait, which one?
70 minutes.
Okay.
A standard CD?
A standard
Like-
compact disc burned with audio files.
Like 32?
Okay, the correct answer is 75. Dan, you had it, but you still win. You were still closest. It is 75 minutes.
Redeemed myself.
You did. So in a 2-1,
I thought it was way lower than that.
it feels lower because it's, well, if you think about it, it's what, about 18, 19 songs if you keep them all around 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So congratulations. Colby, you have won 2-1 in today's trivia challenge.
Whoa!
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, now that we've done the trivia challenge, we're going to move on to some other news. Okay. So, other things that happened this week, let's go through these. Let's talk a little bit more about Bitcoins, because for some reason people can't seem to get enough of that.
So, Sean, you told me before the show that you reached a revelation about
Yes,
Bitcoins.
I figured out how Bitcoins work.
Do tell.
Okay, but it's, the concept is so boiled down that there are going to be people who are like, he has no idea what he's talking about, but I kind of do. So, for there to be, the problem is the U.S. currency today is kind of baloney because it's not backed by anything. So let's go back in time to when our currency was backed by gold and silver, and that's a better comparison. So a currency is A, limited and trackable, and B, it's, wait, I have to remember these. So it's limited in supply, it's non-replicable, and it's trackable. Okay? Think of the US dollar when backed by the gold standard. The government made it, you couldn't print your own. It was trackable in that it had a backing. And if you think of Bitcoin in that way, every Bitcoin has their certain code to it, a code that hypothetically is non-replicable and is only owned by one person at a time, that's supported by the network of the entire Bitcoin network, which I didn't realize when you crunch numbers to get Bitcoins, the numbers you're crunching are actually all the transactions that are going on. Did you know that? So it's crazy. So whenever, like, say, Dan, I send you Bitcoin, the entire Bitcoin network essentially has to approve that transaction. They have to say, Sean actually owns those Bitcoins, he's actually giving them to Dan, Dan is actually receiving them. But because it's done through computational means, all the other computers in the Bitcoin network who are mining for Bitcoins are kind of the reward for crunching these numbers. So in a way, it is similar to currency in that businesses have ledgers that prove how much money came in, how much money go out. You report that to the IRS. Bitcoin is very similar. You can't just money, you know, if I have a Bitcoin, Dan can't say he has the same Bitcoin. That makes sense to me. And then the fact that it is in a limited supply, so they can't just keep creating more. Now the problem is, A, eventually they will run out of new Bitcoins to create. So you will have a problem in 2 or 3 years. And then the other problem is that because it is still volatile. But I get how it's kind of a currency now. Did that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty reasonable. So I have one question. I was under the impression that it's not like it's not that they'll run out of Bitcoins. It's just that it becomes exponentially more. It like takes an ever increasing amount of computational power to calculate more Bitcoin hashes, and so eventually the power needed to, like the computer power needed to calculate the remaining Bitcoins will be like far beyond what we have. But
yes, which I translated into there will be no more Bitcoin.
It's capped. It's capped at a number. That is true what you said. Each Bitcoin is harder to get by some formula where it knows the rate at which people found the previous one and compensates for it so that they come at a certain rate. But at a certain point, there just won't be any more. There's a number after this Bitcoin. Yeah. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And those are, I thought they were mining these math problems, but then the answer of, so when you mine a Bitcoin, you do this math problem and you get a valid answer, and then all the other computers in the network verify that your answer is correct, at which point you're granted the Bitcoin. But then what you said is also true, that whenever anyone trades anything, a consensus has to be reached in the network that your trade is valid.
Right, which is
why is what necessitates having like a Bitcoin exchange like Mt. Gox or Coinbase or something, because having the network verify that your transaction takes a long time.
Yeah, so if you trade within Mt. Gox, it's much faster than if you're using the entire Bitcoin network. That's the advantage, because now that Bitcoin has gotten so huge, it does take a while. I've been told up to an hour to have your transaction approved, which may not seem that long, but...
Mt. Gox, they take a hefty interest, though.
Oh, yeah.
Also known as all of your money.
That's true. Yeah, so we talked last week about Mt. Gox getting hacked for over $400 million worth of Bitcoins. Well, it came out this week. This is just the wackiest story. So apparently, a group of hackers claims it has broken into the Mt. Gox's network to get answers. They're claiming that Mt. Gox still has access to 951,000 Bitcoins. As part of a file they released that was stolen from the company. The file has yet to be confirmed, but it's led people to believe that this file shows poor accounting practices for the company and that they may not even know how many Bitcoins they actually have. Or that they stole all the Bitcoins, or that...
Now, so... Is that number of Bitcoins all of them, or is that just a portion of the ones that were reported stolen?
That's an outstanding question, and I'm going to find out in about a second.
I believe it's just a portion. But
yeah.
Sean will be back with the answers shortly.
That's most of them, because the article I just read said that only 700,000 were stolen.
So that makes sense. If they thought they had them the entire time.
Well, yeah, and it's not that all the Bitcoins were stolen from Mt. Gox. Not every single one they had was stolen, a large chunk. But the hackers are claiming that Mt. Gox is saying, well, guys, we can't pay you or we can't reimburse your Bitcoins. And they're saying, well, they still have access to nearly 1 million Bitcoins. They're not bankrupt, as they're claiming, and that they're concerned that this could be an insider theft. This could be a scam. It could, again, people don't quite know what exactly is going on.
Right. Cool. That's crazy and weird. And
yeah.
I feel like without Bitcoin, we couldn't have such an exciting story.
No, I agree, and it is the downside to that a digital currency, because I'm sure at some point in history money was stolen, so someone invented a safe to put it in. If they keep seeing that these virtual currencies keep getting hacked and stolen, which this has happened a number of times, I guess they'll just have to take security much more seriously.
Security's hard.
I'm glad it's left to guys like you and not me, because
guys like me, people must die.
There are people more paranoid than us, Sean.
Yeah,
Speaking
like
of
John McAfee.
Speaking of paranoid. So we, on our very first show way back, 36 episodes ago. Do you guys remember a story about Google's internet balloons?
Yeah, the Loon Project.
Yes, the Loon Project. But Google was going to put out balloons carrying the internet around the world. Well, good news. Facebook is buying drones. Yes, that's right. Google's balloons versus Facebook drones, the battle in the sky. There will be
Amazon drones.
And the Amazon. Well, the difference is that Facebook has the same message or the same goal as the Facebook ones to bring internet to areas that don't have it. So it's a similar mission between the two. I think Amazon just wants to get you your stuff faster, which is fine. I don't know what Facebook would bring me on their drones.
The presents that you put on people's walls for their birthday, like
that would be
Starbucks
good.
gift card delivered right to your desk.
So I have a question about this. This wasn't like an official statement by the company, right? This was like a leak or something, or
I don't know. No, you are correct.
Yeah. Okay, I just wasn't sure because I was like,
no, that's an
I wasn't
important point.
sure if it was like something they actually announced or if it's just like a rumor at this point.
Yeah, it's I would say a widely accepted rumor. So take that for.
Cool. I know, like, this is not something they can legally talk about internally. They don't talk about, like, company acquisitions.
Really, Colby? You're not in the room when they're buying up drone companies?
I thought your desk was right next to Mark Zuckerberg, so they just discussed that right at his desk, right?
They go, hey, Colby, come over here. You know anything about internet drones?
I said, yeah, well, funny you should mention it. We talked about Project Loon on our podcast. Fun fact, one of our 4 viewers is probably not Mark Zuckerberg.
But it's not impossible.
It could be.
I like to imagine Colby does everything at Facebook in the same way I imagine Dan makes arts and crafts for Etsy. So it's more fun to imagine. I know it's not true, but it's more fun to imagine it.
Well, we lay out the website with pieces of construction paper and cut it out and we just super glue it on. That's how we do our prototyping.
You should sell that. Like I'd frame it and buy that. That's cool. You should have an Etsy page for the Etsy website. That's great.
I was being sarcastic, but
well, I think you should do that, Dan. Don't be sarcastic.
It's not the worst idea I've had.
Man, you really had me. Damn you. So anyway, there's a great chart here. Let me see if I can share my screen. So you can see here that this is Loon versus Titan. Titan, the name of the company that makes these drones, and on paper it seems like Facebook's got a bit of an edge on this one. Everything from longevity in the air because they're solar powered to the size, how much they can hold, their altitude. The data speed, how many square miles they can coverage.
But isn't the trick here that this Titan thing doesn't actually exist yet?
That is probably true. I don't actually know.
Seems like a pretty big caveat emptor. Buyer beware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem cool.
The idea here is just to bring internet to the next billion who are going to be using Google and Facebook services.
But so I have a question. Is this like this Titan Aerospace, is that like what they were designing these drones for, or is that just like they were designing these drones that can fly for 4 years and it just so happened that like this might be a nice application of that?
As far as I've read, this is a company that makes drones for anything and everything. Facebook, it's because they're, let's see. They have solar-powered drones that are capable of staying in the air for up to 5 years at a time. And that's, I guess, why Facebook wants the technology.
Does seem cool.
TechCrunch reports...
I would live on a drone for 5 years in the sky. Wouldn't that be fun?
It's like all those old, like, 1930s magazines of, what the year 2000 will look like, and it was all like the Zeppelins going by that you could, like, the city, the Jetsons, and yeah, I'm for that. That sounds great.
It'd be pretty cold.
Yeah.
I just imagine, like, a giant glass, like, living space where you can see, like, the Earth
Colby
sprawled out
wants to
beneath.
stare out over the world.
Yeah, someday I'll buy a giant drone and live.
I'm pretty sure that sort of view is reserved for villains.
Well, I'll do what I gotta do.
I can just imagine Colby in his, like, drone of the future staring out, and there he sees Richard Branson going by, and he goes, Rabadoo! I think that would be great.
In, like, his reanimated body after he's been suspended in, like, a cryogenic freezing chamber.
Well, his head's in a jar. You know how it is. That's excellent. All right. Let's move on to another story. Roku. I'm a big fan of their set-top boxes, but they're getting into the Chromecast game. That's right. They have a new HDMI streaming stick in the same vein as Google's Chromecast. This will be $50, plugs into the HDMI port on your television, and has everything built right into the little stick. It also comes with a remote, which Chromecast doesn't. The standard Roku remote you get on their current boxes. The big advantage here is that it's powered by Roku software, which currently has over 1,200 apps, which is way more than what Chromecast currently has. It is $15 more than the Chromecast. It is available for pre-order today and will ship in April. I think this is great because to this day, I still like my Roku better than the Chromecast. It's just got so many more options, and I like having a physical manual remote. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I used the Chromecast again last week, and it works a lot better, but if it had a remote, enough to just pause and, like, close, even that would be enough, because it gets confusing with all the apps. I also wish that it was integrated in Android, like AirPlay is in iOS, where any view that plays a video is automatically a Chromecast button where it just throws it up on your TV.
Yeah, and to make it easier for... Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that at Google I/O in a couple months.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool. I've never used a Chromecast, so I feel like I can't make this.
Do you have a streaming thingy for the TV that you have?
We have an Apple TV, which is fine, except that the remote doesn't work sometimes for, like, reasons we've been unable to diagnose.
There's an iPhone remote app.
Oh yeah, I did know that, I guess, but, like, it seems so convenient to use the remote, like, bigger on the couch instead of taking out your phone.
We'll have more to talk about remotes later, but I agree that the phone remote is not the bright light in the sky I dreamed it would be.
Yeah, so if you're interested, it's pre-order $50. For me, I love Roku. That's a no-brainer. That's awesome. Good on them.
It does all the things that a regular Roku does?
That's what they're claiming. 1080p streaming, all the apps. Plugs right into your...
Does it have to be plugged into, like, the wall behind the...
It uses the same technology as the Chromecast, which is the MHL certified port. So if you have a newer television, it can pump power directly into the stick. But if you have an older television or one not equipped with MHL, then yeah, you do have to plug it in.
But you can plug... You can plug it... The Chromecast, you can plug into the service USB port on the TV. The only problem with that is that then the Chromecast turns off when you turn your TV off. At least it did for me. So there's like a 30, 45-second startup time. So if you want to turn your TV on and immediately watch Chromecast, it wouldn't work. But that's an option.
Cool.
All right, we've got that. Let's quickly mention the fine folks over at HTC. What does HTC stand for?
High Tech Corporation.
Could be, probably.
Well, regardless of what...
High Tech Computer Corporation.
I love it. I love it. I love those Taiwanese companies that just have like the most literal, it's like computer processor company or like the most literal names. I love those. Excellent. Well, the high-tech computer company is sending out I'm going to call them that every time I say HTC from now on. Is going to be unleashing its new flagship smartphone sometime in the coming weeks, but it's been leaked all to hell. Let's see, details on the all-new HTC One. It will keep the name HTC One. It's got a brushed metal body, a 5-inch 1080p display, 2.5 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon, 3 gigabytes of RAM, and will run Android KitKat. There's a second camera sensor on the back, which will apparently improve focus time and light metering. The volume toggle has been moved from the left side to the right side. Why, I don't know. And perhaps the most interesting part of this is the back casing. So it's a smart case. It's not built into the phone, but it's a smart case that uses LED lights to display time, weather, and possibly notifications directly on the cover of the phone. Let me see if I can share, because I actually think this is, I'd never buy it, but I think it's neat.
I feel like that's what my Moto X does.
Yeah, with the active. Yeah, so wow. It's funky. It's really funky, but we're always looking for new innovations in phones, and I guess any new thing is a good thing. Here you can also see the 1 and 2 camera sensors on the back.
It has 2 camera sensors?
Yeah, so one's a camera and one is just like a sensor.
Right.
And the second sensor does light and focus and things of that nature to improve it's not like a 3D camera where you have 2 active lenses.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so... again,
cool if you could do stuff, like... if it was had an API.
Yeah, that's true. Have specific apps talk to it and
broadcast lewd messages to the
just a scrolling ticker across the phone of just profanity.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
That's a wonderful idea. Yeah, that'll be really interesting. And what I'm interested to see is this 2-lens camera thing. And I don't know. You can do notifications on your phone 100 different ways. I still think the future notifications is the wearable anyway. So, if I still have to take it out of my pocket, it's still defeating the point.
That's fair. I think that's fair, Sean.
Finally, Colby. I usually just say ridiculous things, but I'm glad to see I actually made it this time.
One time.
This one time, yeah. All right, well, we're going to get through one more quick story, and then we're going to move on to our picks. We'll end on wearables, and let's talk about Google released an SDK. It will be released in the coming 2 weeks, based on Android to help, I don't understand what this is. The SDK will be based on Google's Android platform, so it should include tools familiar to app writers. I believe the idea is that there's not even a lot of information. I don't understand if this SDK is supposed to run on phones or is supposed to have your phone talk to Android.
I think it's for writing software that runs on the version of Android that would be running on these wearable devices.
Okay, that makes sense. It is interesting to note that this was released 3 months before the Google's I/O conference, which is 3 months from now, when it's assumed there'll be an updated version of Android and probably Google's own wearable device.
That would be something I might consider if it's not stupid looking.
With wearables, you never know.
That's true. What is the status of Google Glass? Like,
it still exists.
Is that supposed to come out at the end of the year? Is that the end of this year or next year?
I think they said the end of this year.
Yeah, because I thought they had given a consumer release date, an approximate one, when it first started.
Yeah, I mean, just from a business perspective, I'd expect if they're going to announce something, they would either do it at I/O or they would do it in an event at some point in September or October, right around the same time Apple's expected to release their wearable. So that's I would expect them to do that.
Cool.
But that's just a guess.
For this, I cannot wait. Actually,
so you can get Glass as a great Christmas gift.
I was listening to the TED NPR radio hour today at work, the podcast, because I like to listen to things while I work.
Because you're insane, but go on.
Yeah, I like to ignore stuff, but sometimes I listen to it. It really doesn't make sense that it works for me, but it does. So, but that's not the point. On the TED podcast, they had this guy on who he's colorblind, and so he doesn't he's from what I understood, he's completely colorblind. Like he doesn't see hue or saturation, so he essentially just sees shades of gray.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like that book, 50 Shades of Grey. I think that's what it was about.
It's based on his life. It's an autobiography.
Yeah. But he did so for I guess 10 years. He worked with this professor guy who built this device, which is essentially a camera. It's a camera on a little wire. It looked like an antenna from what they described, and it's there's a chip that's built into the back of his head, and the camera plays notes, musical notes based on the color it sees. So he hears color, and the chip uses the same thing Google Glass does. It resonates your skull to send this sound into his ears. But it was really interesting, and that just made me think of Google Glass, and I would like to hear colors. So maybe we can do that when Google Glass is.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That was all. I didn't have anything.
I think that's very interesting.
Sean's patronizing.
You're such a hippie. I want to hear color.
Wouldn't it be cool?
No, you're a San Francisco hippie, and I don't want to hear about it. Peace, man. All right, let's. Now that I've put down Colby, why don't
the entire city of San Francisco?
And the entire city, because why not? Let's move on and do some of these. All right, we got picks, and I'm going to do something unusual, and I'm going to be the decider. I want Dan to go first.
Whoa!
Because I want to hear about this.
Okay, yeah. So, it's a rare moment in, the history of the world wherein you add technology and a problem goes away. So, last weekend, my mom had moved to a new place, and I was tasked with setting up the TV and the cable box and the Roku and the receiver and the surround sound and the CD player hooked into the receiver through the surround sound speakers, and it was a mess. There was a pile of remotes sitting on the table. And I read on the Wirecutter that they actually recommended a universal remote, so I thought, well, how bad could it be? And eventually I bought one. Not only did I have all of those things that I listed on there, but I also ended up having to buy a HDMI switcher from Radio Shack, completely non-branded thing. So basically what you do with this is, maybe I can even do it. So there's this web interface. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Google, your autocomplete. Yes. This web interface. I can sign in. Don't look at my password. Just kidding, you can't see my password. Oh God. Pop. Anyways, it has this interface where you can basically type in what equipment you have, like the model name and the serial number, and then it walks you through adding. Basically, that's all you do. So you I have a Sony VX7 TV, and you press enter, and then it's like, okay, now I know all the buttons and what radio signals to send it. And so that worked for everything except the off-brand HDMI receiver that I purchased. In which case, you take the remote for the HDMI receiver and you point it at the bottom of the remote, and then your computer is like, press the power button. So you press the power button, it sends it to the universal remote, and now the universal remote knows what radio signal will send power to the device. And then it's like, press the right button, press the left button, on, and then pretty quickly you train the remote how to use it. But that's not even the coolest part. The coolest part is, yeah, I'm going to zoom right in on these buttons you can't see. The coolest part is these buttons right at the top. These buttons read, watch TV, watch a movie, listen to music, and more activities. So you can give it these activities, which is basically like a visual programming language where you say, if I want to watch TV, turn the TV on, switch the input on the TV to HDMI once, turn the receiver on, switch the input on the receiver to this thing, turn the cable box on, and good to go. If I want to watch a movie, turn the TV on, switch it to another input, or in my case, switch the HDMI receiver to another input, turn the receiver on, switch it to another input, listen to music, don't turn the TV on, turn the CD player on, turn the surround sound system on, turn the receiver on, blah, 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 blah. And you can set your own activities. So I have a watch Chromecast on here, for example. And it worked great. It works brilliantly. I couldn't say better things. It's kind of expensive at $70, but I don't even have that many devices with me, and I kind of want one. Just because, only one button to push instead of turn the TV on, switch the input, turn the surround sound on, switch the input, find the DVD player remote. This is just way better. It can navigate the menus on the cable box. It can do all of the functionality on the DVD player, record shows, all that stuff.
Did you say you had it working with a Roku, for example?
I didn't.
Okay.
Try that because we had the Chromecast down there.
Oh, okay. I'm sure they're compatible. I mean, it's an
sure
RF
if it sends
remote.
radio signals, it can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. It looks like it can.
Great. That's swell. Why do you keep making me spend money on crap I don't need, Dion? Jesus, I'm gonna send you the
at
bill.
a point you don't need it, but if you're making a good present for a mildly technologically illiterate family member, this is amazing. Sometimes I buy people presents like that, and it's like, hey, Grandpa, here's a Roku, because I know you only watch Netflix on your computer. And he's like, well, I don't want to figure out how to use this thing. I will just I know how to use the computer. I'll just keep watching it there. Whereas this actually simplifies things. It's really cool. Logitech Harmony 650.
Sweet.
Awesome. I like when we do hardware reviews. We don't do a lot of those, so that's neat. Outstanding. I'm going to jump in and go next because I'm twitching from all the caffeine. So this, you folks may know the Jawbone people. Originally did the Bluetooth headsets. Now they got their Up, which is kind of their fitness tracker. Well, they released an app this week called Up Coffee, which you can find on their website, jawbone.com. And it's kind of a novel concept because these fitness trackers track a lot of our information. You can even log how many calories you eat, but they never give you context. They never say, because you're eating this number of calories, here's what will happen tomorrow. They'll say, compared to other people, you eat this. There's not a lot of context for the information. This app is really neat. For those of you who know me, I'm a big caffeine guy. I drink a lot of coffee, soda, things like that. They've created an app where you can actually log these things, and I'm going to show you mine on the still up for sponsorship demo cam. The whatever demo cam. I gotta be able to see what I'm doing. So here is the Up app. And it's got this nice little like beaker thing, and it swishes around, which I like. But it says on there, it says that you're okay, and it'll say if you're calm, okay, wired. And then it will also say ready for sleep at, and then if you tap it, it'll say ready for sleep in number of hours. So now it says I'm ready for sleep in 0 hours and 0 minutes. I'm calm. But for example, I had a cup of decaf with the show I haven't put in here yet. So when you first set it up, it asks you your height and your weight, so it can roughly calculate. I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to go coffee, tea. They've got coffee, tea. They've got certain companies, Starbucks, certain items. Also soda, energy drinks. I'm going to hit decaf coffee. And you see it adds the little bubbles to my thing. But luckily it still says I'm okay. I should be able to go to sleep. And then they create this neat little chart. Look at that. And it's a neat little chart. And that's how much caffeine is inside of me. And there's a little line that says sleep ready, and there's a little line that says wired, and you can track back over time your caffeine consumption, and if you go see the white lines, that's the prediction of how it will decrease in my body as the hours go by. You can also, there's a log, and you can see all the past stuff I've put in. I've used it for about 5 or 6 days now. And then there's also, and they're going to change these each day as time goes on, but here's a log comparing me to the average Up coffee user, and when I drink the most caffeine and when I don't. If you've done it for 7 days, they'll have a better log of how you do it. They even give you fun little coffee facts. So overall, I actually think it's really neat, and as someone who consumes a lot of coffee, I definitely recommend it.
Do you need the Jawbone band to do that?
No, it does provide extra context because it knows when you go to sleep, when you're active, how much faster you're going to burn the caffeine, so you get a better experience. But no, I found it does a pretty decent job of roughly tracking your consumption. And it's not even, for me anyway, it's not even necessarily about when I'll be able to sleep, because I know if I have a cup of coffee at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not going to sleep. But it's more about being able to see, wow, I drink a lot of caffeine, or, oh, I didn't realize how long caffeine stays in your body. So it's just cool to be able to learn and take this data and actually convert it into something interesting. And they say over time, they consider it almost an experiment where they're collecting all this data for hundreds of people, and they say over time, A, your caffeine levels are going to become more accurate, and B, they're going to be able to give you more interesting and unique statistics. So, and it's free. So you just log in your stuff, and you don't even need to have a Jawbone account to do it. So it's Up Coffee. It's only for iOS. The iPhone, you can get it in the App Store now.
Sean, I think
yes.
I think the Forever Don't Panic Challenge. I want you to fill up the beaker.
I would. I mean, I can fake do it and just put in things, but it would probably be energy drinks. I don't think I could drink enough coffee to. I'd have to have like 4 cups in a row. So, but you can put in like Red Bull and Monster and maybe next week's show.
I don't want you to die.
I'll just be like, so this week, don't panic. We've got a lot of good stuff. News, tech. Yeah, that would not be good.
That's how Sean's heart exploded.
That is, yeah, exactly. You're gonna kill me. Just to satisfy your curiosity about a cell phone app. Thanks, Colby. Wonderful. Well, Colby, let's talk about your app. What the heck is this?
All right. So as anyone who is probably listening to this show has probably realized, because I feel like this is something that comes up with me once every month or two, when I try a new bookmarking app. I've never found one that has held my attention, kept me satisfied for more than a few months. I think the last one I reviewed was probably Kipped, which cool for a while, and then it literally hasn't gotten any better. It's kind of just the same. So I stopped paying for it and have since stopped using it. But so the other day, I don't recall exactly where I saw this, but they have a really dumb name. It's a silly name, but I think it's kind of weird. But it's called Drag Dis, like drag this, but dis.
See what they did there?
Yep. But it's like a bookmarking extension in Chrome. It does feature-wise, it's effectively exactly the same as every other bookmarking extension you can get for Chrome. But the cool thing is the interface for doing it is really neat. So I'll see if I can share my screen here and I'll show you guys. This one, that one. All right.
Double Dan!
Double Dan. So basically, say you're browsing the web, doing whatever, and you're like, oh, this looks like a cool link. All you have to do is click and hold on it and start to drag it, and the extension pops open on the side, and it gives you your list of you can have categories, and within the categories you can have folders. And then so I have my Don't Panic stories here, so I keep my list of things I might want to pick right here, and then I can go to it, and it's awesome. And it's always there on every site, and you can stick pictures or text. You can just copy and paste select text and drag it in there. You can drag the URL from the search bar. I assume you can probably drag a picture from your desktop, but it's a really nice. It makes it easy to categorize your stuff.
That's great, Colby. No, we were definitely listening. No, that is really neat, actually. And actually, I think I may give that a shot, because
it's not in every other way it's either exactly the same or mediocre.
Well, it just seems really easy.
I don't particularly I don't find their the browsing interface particularly useful or helpful, but I mean, your links are all there and they're categorized like you categorize them, and you didn't have to type anything in, which is nice.
Or log into an extra service or use an app or anything. It's just click and drag. So that's neat.
Yeah.
Very cool. DragDis.com. Sweet. Okay. All right. Wow, that's just another fantastic episode has come to its inevitable conclusion. Gentlemen, do you have anything else you want to add before we leave for the evening?
Stay safe.
Stay safe. That's a good message. I'll give a shout out to Dan Sweatshirt and say go Red Foxes.
Yeah.
MAC championship.
Almost ended the exact same way the men's game did, but he pulled it out.
Yeah, so congratulations.
It was a nail biter.
I'm glad I didn't watch a good chunk of it because I caught just the end, and that was the fun part. And I got to see Shooter Fox do the worm on the court. So
yeah, that's one way to remember that dance.
That was really funny. So I guess with that, we're going to wrap up the show. Thanks, as always, to Colby and Dan for another riveting hour of internet television. I hope we entertained all of you, and you may have even learned something. We do this show Monday nights at sometimes 10 and sometimes 11 p.m. I don't know, what'd you guys think of 10 p.m.?
I've got the whole night ahead of me.
I know. I don't know what to do with myself.
It was cool for me. Like, I got home and it was still light out, which was partially due to the fact that I left early. Also, there was it took 35 minutes to get home. There was almost no traffic, which was amazing. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm for it if this seems like the thing we should do.
That's totally. I agree. So I guess you'll be seeing us next Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Our webpage, don'tpanicdiet.io, is the central hub. You should definitely subscribe to us, whether it's on iTunes or whatever respective podcast feeder you use, because you get the episodes right away when they're published. And, of course, links to our Facebook and all that stuff is on our website, don'tpanic.io. Thank you all so much for watching. With that, we will end the show and wish you a fond farewell.
Peace.
How does he do that? All right, wonderful. My camera focus keeps going. All right, I will do the banner read.
Do it. I'm sad that I can't get the coffee app.
Oh, because yeah.
Threes is coming to Android, though. Soon.
Oh, that's good. I know there's a knock.
I got Threes on iPad, and I didn't like it.
What?
Aww.
Colby.
I mean, I don't not like it. It just doesn't hold my attention. I get halfway through a game, and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Although I will admit I've stopped playing. I have a short attention span when it comes to new games. I'll play them for a week, and then...
I play it every day.
I will say, though...
Well, yeah, because you have time to...
Civ 5.
Oh, Civ 5, really?
Oh, you've been doing it?
Yeah. For 6 hours at a time.
Yes! We need to get a game going, Colby. Network game.
Yeah. Alright. We should do it. I'm down. Whenever... I don't know how to do that, but,
I'll figure it out.
If you do... Alright. We could probably figure it out together, I guess.
Okay.
I don't think that my computer can handle both Google Hangouts and Civ 5 at the same time.
Yeah, probably not.
But
yeah, that shit is a big thing.
Yeah. Do you need to do your little segment thing?
I do, but actually I like this conversation, and we may keep it in the final version because it's good, it's interesting. So remember, while it's still streaming, it's still recording, so I can use some of this.
Okay. I was also thinking, we should do a review of old picks, if you or I try one of Dan's picks or whatever combination of that. We should do that. After
checks
the
and
picks.
Balances.
Yes, revisit the previous week's picks if any have been followed up on.
I would not have a problem with that because I have gotten a lot of good stuff from you guys.
Yeah. I bought iStat Menu today, and it's amazing. I wouldn't have thought I would have cared at all, but I really care all the time.
Yeah, something they did there really works.
Yeah. Also, like, it makes, like, when my computer's freaking out and something is, like, eating all my CPU, like, all I have to do is open it up and the processes are right there. And it's like, oh, that stupid app. Like, I downloaded that mail client had an update a couple of days ago, and I downloaded it, and it was like, I couldn't remember my password, so I was like, never mind, I'm not doing this. But then, like, 10 minutes later, I closed the app, and something was like, my CPU bar was like full, and the fan was going, and I was like, what is going on? And I opened it, and there are like 2 processes for Inky Core using like 2 full cores of CPU.
Inky.
It's like, God.
The other day in Interactive Media 2 class, we were doing wireframing, and we were talking about OmniGraffle. And
I also found out we have OmniGraffle. Like, Facebook has a site license.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Nice.
Etsy does too. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna download.
It's so good.
All right, let me do this. We'll do the read, and then we'll hang up. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, unique New York. Gotta get ready. This is serious.
That's gonna be video too, right?
That's we may start the episode with that. I've got to go next week when I'm on spring break. I'll have to go through our last couple episodes because we've had some really funny moments, and I'll have to go through and pull some of them out.
That's when Colby's phone went off.
Yes, exactly.
That was really perfect. Okay, Google now.
There you go. You gotta. It's a forbidden phrase.
It's Voldemort.
Exactly.
A phrase which shall not be spoken.
That's awesome. All right, let's do this.
God, we were busy.
For an episode that didn't have a lot of news, that had a lot of news.
We did it.
Yeah, that was all right. So I am going to stop broadcast.